Do you find yourself holding back from talking in a meeting because you feel the pressure to say something earth-shattering? What if you could find a way to be visible and contribute in meetings without making it so hard on yourself? I am Irina, a coach, speaker, and consultant who help professionals become possibility thinkers using the power of options. I believe you always have the option to become better at who you are and what you do. And in this case, you do have multiple options for what to say in a meeting. So here are 4 ways to bring value in a meeting. First, direct contribution. Yes, this is the hardest one. Sharing a new idea, a strong opinion, or a substantial insight. However, many people assume that this is the only way that counts, and that assumption keeps them silent at times. Yes, making this type of direct contribution does count, but that's not the only option. Another type of contribution that you can make in a meeting is to acknowledge others' ideas. You don't need a revolutionary thought to be visible. You can just say, "That's a really interesting way to frame it. I hadn't thought about it like that. Such a good point. I agree, we are aligned here." Acknowledging others' ideas signals presence, engagement, and thinking. That matters more than you might realize. Another way of contributing in a meeting is to build on what somebody else said. For example, you can say, "I'm noticing a link between this topic and the issue we talked about last week." Or, "I especially liked this part from what you said, and that made me think that we can do this thing for the customer." Or, "Another team is doing something similar. This could be a useful connection. I can make an introduction." When you build on what somebody else said, you are not starting from scratch. You are extending the conversation, and that brings real value. The fourth way to contribute in a meeting is to make a procedural suggestion. Speaking up isn't only about the content. You could say, "We have 5 minutes left and 2 more topics to cover. How do we want to proceed?" Or, "Should we park this topic and come back to it later?" Or, "Would it be helpful to clarify the next steps before we move on?" This protects everybody's times and sharpens the meeting. People remember that. If you are quiet in meetings, the problem is just a limited view of your options. You can make a direct contribution. You can acknowledge others' ideas. You can build on what somebody else said, or you can make a procedural suggestion. You do have multiple options for what to say in a meeting.